This is continuous coverage.
Continuous coverage.
In the trial of Lori Vallow Daybell from the Hidden Killers podcast.
That it is. We're up to segment number 2 now in our continuous coverage in the trial of Lori Vallow Daybell. Let's go to the courtroom.
Agent Douglas, with regards to Exhibit 111, could you please look at that?
Yes, ma'am. And for the record, I should state that I'm a forensic accountant, not a special agent.
Okay.
Just to make sure that's clear for the record.
Okay. Thank you. And did you prepare Exhibit 111?
I did.
What documents did you rely on in preparing Exhibit 111?
So as noted down at the bottom, Tylee had a JP Morgan Chase account that ended in 3918. This was a joint account with Miss Daybell. And then the following, towards the end, the marks that are in the green and the red, Tylee later had a bank account with BBVA that ended in 5794. And due to Tylee being a minor again, Miss Daybell had to be a signer on the account.
All right. And were you provided information or bank account information by Detective Considas with the Rexburg Police Department?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
Your Honor, I believe that information was relied upon by Agent Douglas in preparing these exhibits.
All right. With that additional foundation, any objection to Exhibit 111 being admitted?
No, Your Honor. All
right. Exhibit 111 is admitted as a summary to prove content under Rule 1006. Your next offered exhibit is 112, which is a timeline. What's the offer on that, Ms. Rawlings?
Thank you, Your Honor. And I should also mention that I provided the defense an Excel spreadsheet, and I believe the court also received a copy of the Excel spreadsheet showing all of the account information and attribution and foundation for Mr. Douglas's preparation of these timelines. I believe defense counsel had difficulty opening that Excel spreadsheet that I sent, and I did provide them a hard copy of it yesterday as well.
All right. As it relates then to the timeline, I wouldn't see that as falling under Rule 1006. Is it a demonstrative exhibit?
Yes, it is, Your Honor, and I can go through the questions if you'd like.
Let me just ask then, is there any objection to Exhibit 112 being admitted at this time from the defense?
I don't believe I heard this witness say that he's the one who prepared it, relying upon what information?
All right, if you'd like to ask some foundational questions, you can.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Douglas, in preparation for your testimony today, with regard to Exhibit 112, what is that? Can you identify that?
This is a timeline relative to Tylee and events that happened in her lifetime from the death of her father, Joe Bryan, going forward.
Okay. And did you personally prepare this exhibit?
I did.
Did you prepare it in aid of your testimony today?
I did.
Did you prepare it in an effort to aid the jury in understanding all of the financial information you analyzed?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, I'd move for the admission of Exhibit 112.
All right, any objection as to 112?
No, Your Honor.
Very well, Exhibit 112 is admitted as a demonstrative exhibit. Let's next look at the Exhibit 113, which is also a timeline. Madam Prosecutor, if you'd like to inquire, you may.
Thank you, Your Honor. Officer Douglas, or Mr. Douglas, would you please identify Exhibit 113 for the record?
This is a timeline that I noted as events that happened in JJ's lifetime from the passing of Charles Vallow moving forward in his lifetime.
Okay, and did you personally prepare that exhibit?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you rely on information and financial account information that you received from Detective Considas to prepare that document?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you prepare that document to aid the jury in understanding the financial accounts and information that you analyzed as part of your work on this case as a forensic accountant?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, I'd move for the admission of Exhibit 112.
I think that's 113.
I'm sorry, 113.
Any objection on 113 being admitted?
May I ask a question in aid of objection?
You may.
Mr. Douglas, on your timeline here, you have dates that Tylee is killed and JJ is killed. Is that part of your accounting, is to figure out when the dates people died, or was that information told to you?
That information was told to me, sir.
Okay. So if those dates aren't correct about the dates that the children were killed, is all the other information on your sheet correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Your Honor, for demonstrative purposes, I don't object to the exhibits. It's based upon what others told him as well.
All right. Without objection then, and with that in mind, the court does find that it's allowable as a demonstrative exhibit, and so Exhibit 113 is admitted. Let's next look at Exhibit 114, which was offered. You can inquire as to that as well now, Ms. Rawlings.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Douglas, can you identify Exhibit 114 for the record?
Yes, ma'am. These are Social Security payments received by Ms. Daybell after the passing of the children, or the dates given for the passing of the children.
And did you prepare that document yourself?
I did.
Did you prepare it as an aid or summary for the jury for demonstrative purposes?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, I'd move for the admission of Exhibit 114.
Any objection on 114?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Exhibit 114 is admitted. Let's next look at Exhibit 115, which is the timeline. You can inquire, Ms. Rawlings.
Thank you, Your Honor. Officer Douglas, can you identify Exhibit, I think we are on 115 now?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. This is a timeline that I've referenced as the grand theft timeline that I prepared.
All right, and you prepared that yourself?
Yes, ma'am.
And you prepared that in aid of your testimony today before the jury?
That is correct.
And did you prepare it in an effort to help the jury understand the voluminous financial information and other information you learned through your investigation?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, I'd move for the admission of Exhibit 114 as a demonstrative exhibit.
That's 115
Sorry.
that we're on. Any objection as to Exhibit 115?
May I ask a question in aid of objection?
Yes.
So, Mr. Douglas, again, you're relying on information told to you from the police as to dates of death of Tylee, JJ, and Tammy.
That is correct.
So that's not part of your forensic accounting, is to figure out when and where people died, but that was information that was told to you?
Yes, sir.
With that explanation, Your Honor, I don't have any objection to the exhibit.
All right, then Exhibit 115 is admitted as a demonstrative exhibit. There's another timeline that's Exhibit 116. If you'd like to inquire on foundation for that, you may.
Thank you. Mr. Douglas, can you identify Exhibit 116 for the record?
Yes, ma'am. That is a timeline of the life insurance relative to Miss Tammy Daybell.
And did you prepare that in aid of your testimony today?
I did.
Did you prepare it as an aid to assist the jury in understanding the financial information that you analyzed in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you rely on other information from other law enforcement officers in preparing this exhibit?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, for demonstrative purposes, I would move to admit Exhibit 116.
Any objection as to 116?
For demonstrative purposes, I do not object.
Okay. Exhibit 116 is admitted as a demonstrative exhibit. And then finally, there was Exhibit 117 offered. And if you'd like to ask foundational questions, you may.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Douglas, for the record, can you identify Exhibit 117?
Yes, ma'am. This one I tiled the Venmo activity, and I prepared this in aid of my testimony today.
Thank you. And you prepared that yourself?
Yes, ma'am.
You prepared that to assist the jury in understanding the financial information you analyzed?
I did.
Is there any information on this document that's relying on other officers, or is it just containing financial information?
There is information on it relying on other officers.
Okay. And so you included information that you learned through your contact with other law enforcement in this investigation?
That's correct.
Your Honor, for purposes of demonstrative, for a demonstrative exhibit, I would move for the admission of Exhibit 117.
Any objection as to 117?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Exhibit 117 is now admitted as well. You can continue with any direct examination at this time then, Ms. Rawlings.
Thank you, Your Honor. Can I also ask the court to pull previously admitted Exhibits 64A and B? I'll need those shortly. Yes.
Okay, we'll work on getting those ready.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Douglas, will you please state your name and spell it for the record?
My name is Michael Douglas, Michael Douglas, Douglass.
And where are you employed?
With the FBI.
What is your job title with the FBI?
I'm a forensic accountant, ma'am.
Okay. What does a forensic accountant do?
A typical day-to-day is research and analyze financial records, post or hold interviews, and testify.
Can you describe in more detail the work you did in analyzing the financial data in this case?
So regarding this case, I reviewed nearly 80 bank accounts to include credit card statements for multiple individuals in this case.
Okay. Can you name some of the individuals that you analyzed the bank accounts?
Miss Daybell, Chad Daybell, Alex Cox, to name a few, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to ask that you be handed, it's been marked as, previously marked as State's Exhibit 64A and 64B. Do you recognize those?
I do.
Can you tell the jury what those are?
These are bank statements in the name of Miss Lori Vallow regarding her bank account with BBVA Compass.
Okay. And have you reviewed those records previously?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you familiar, have you reviewed other bank records on behalf of Lori Vallow?
I have.
And are you familiar with Mark Sari?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you worked with Mark Sari in relation to this case?
I have.
In your investigation on this case, have you looked into the deposits of Social Security funds into that BBVA Compass account?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you reviewed Social Security benefits being deposited into any other accounts?
Yes, ma'am.
What were those accounts?
Tylee was receiving Social Security payments into her JP Morgan Chase account ending 3918.
As part of your role as a forensic accountant, we've kind of gone through this a little bit. Did you prepare any demonstrative aids or documents summarizing the amounts of those Social Security funds that were received into that BBVA Compass account?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you familiar with the timeline of the death for Tylee Ryan?
I am.
Do you know approximately when she died?
It is approximately 9/9/19.
Did you create a summary or a demonstrative exhibit with Tylee's financial information?
I have.
All right, and then starting with Exhibit 111, I'm going to try this two ways, Your Honor. I have the hard copy, but they are on legal paper, so I'm not sure how well they'll show under the Elmo. I also have an electronic copy that we can try and pull up on my computer.
Okay.
So if we can try the computer version first. The only thing is that I think that it will show if I switch screens. Yes, it will. So I think we're going to have to go with the All right. Can you explain the information contained in this document?
Yes, ma'am. So the information provided on this document are regarding Tylee's 2 bank accounts. The first one starting with her JP Morgan Chase account beginning January 1 of 2019. And the following bank account for her BBVA Compass account, the 5794. Prior to August 2019, the expenses as they can be seen on here for Tylee's pattern of life are between about 30 to 70 transactions. Those are both brick and mortar purchases, such as going to the local grocery store, and also include monthly expenses such as her Apple account. And then the following, the red and the green, and the information provided there in August and September, both of those show, as I will show later on, when Tylee's BBVA account was open, and then the transition to the BBVA account, the closing of the JP Morgan account, and then the continued use of the BBVA account.
Okay. So how many bank accounts are shown on this document?
2.
All right. And then you explained the colors are tracking what information?
So the blue will show Tylee's deposits that were made into her JP Morgan account. The orange shows the withdrawals or the transactions from that same account. The green is associated with deposits that were into the Compass or BBVA account, and the red are withdrawals from that BBVA account.
Okay. And what account did Tylee's Social Security payments from the death of her father, Joe Ryan, get deposited into initially?
Those were initially going into the Chase account.
Okay. And how did Tylee manage her money when she had access to her JP Morgan Chase account?
Tylee was responsible with her money. I never saw her have one negative balance.
Were any automatic payments set up for Tylee's account, for the JP Morgan account?
She had 2. She had her Jeep payment as well as her T-Mobile payment.
Okay. And did you create a timeline referencing the major financial and other events for Tylee?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, may I publish Exhibit 112?
You may.
Let's see if we can try it. Are you able to read that, Mr. Douglas?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Can you walk me through this timeline?
So this timeline starts regarding the death of passing of Tylee's father, Joe Ryan. The date on that was April 3rd of 2018. It was due to her father's passing was why she received the Social Security payments. The initial Social Security payments start going into her JP Morgan Chase account on June 14th of 2018. We found in Tylee's records, or I found Tylee's records, that she had payments to a GED program, researched that, and we found that Tylee had received her GED, and the passing date was October 12th of 2018. This BBVA account that you handed me earlier, Ms. Vallow or Ms. Daybell, was opened October 23rd of 2018. Joe Ryan held a life insurance policy And the records that we obtained showed that death benefits were provided and paid into a bank account held by Ms. Daybell to the tune of just about $65,000. That deposit was October 26th of 2018. Also in Tylee's bank records, we found deposits from J&S Investments. Research found that belonged to her uncle, Dr. Jeff Shiflett. She worked for him for a couple of months. So she was having deposits into her account from Dr. Shiflett starting December 10th of 18.
And when did the T-Mobile payments start?
The T-Mobile payments started, as far as the records they provided to us, February 25th of 19.
Okay. And just, if you'll continue walking through that timeline.
Okay. As I noted earlier, Tylee had her Jeep. Charles Vallow helped her purchase that Jeep. He's the co-signer on the application. And her initial payment for the Jeep came out June 3rd of 2019, again from her JP Morgan Chase account. And then following month, July 11th, is the shooting of Charles Vallow by Mr. Cox. A week later, there was a text message that was discovered between Miss Daybell and Mr. Daybell about the receiving of $4,000 Social Security funds, but not receiving a life insurance payment or life insurance policy. The following week, we noticed that this was the last payment of Tylee's Social Security funds into her JP Morgan Chase account.
Can you just say the date for the record?
July 24th of 2019. Ms. Vallow had a $2 million life insurance policy. The records provided per the insurance company showed that on August 12th, Ms. Vallow had changed that policy to her son Colby to be 100% beneficiary. Okay. On August 14th was the date that we received, or per the application that we received from the rental company that Ms. Vallow had applied for her apartment in Rexburg. And per this application, Ms. Vallow states that she's receiving $5,740 Social Security funds.
And did that track with your review of the financial information for the Social Security?
No, ma'am. No. On August 16th of 2019, Tylee's Social Security payments had been changed to be deposited into Ms. Vallow or Ms. Daybell's BBVA account ending in 3229. On August 19th of 2019, this is when Tylee's BBVA account was opened.
Was that a joint account?
It was.
Who was on the account with Tylee?
It would have been Ms. Daybell. August 28th, this is the initial deposit of Tylee's Social Security funds into Ms. Daybell's BBVA account ending in 3229. August 31st, this is the date that we show Ms. Daybell and the children moving to Rexburg. I found throughout my research on September 8th that Colby had requested Tylee to send him a Venmo payment. Venmo being a person-to-person transfer of funds or a peer-to-peer transfer of funds. Tylee responded back that she did not have the funds in her account and that Ms. Daybell was receiving them. Also that date, I wanted to note that Mr. Daybell is searching the wind direction of south-southwest. The next day is noted the homicide of Tylee. There's also an email between Ms. Vallow or Ms. Daybell to a former accountant by the name of Mike Edson. requesting information about a tax refund from a prior year of her and Mr. Vallow. Tylee's Venmo account, as I will show on later information, there is one funding source per her account at the time of her death. The BBVA account of hers was added on 9/10 of 2019, the day after her passing, her believed passing. On September 20th, this is the date that Tylee's JP Morgan Chase account was closed. Per records provided by Colby and also iCloud account information, there's text message information regarding a phone associated with Tylee, phone associated with Ms. Daybell and Colby, and I'd be paraphrasing, but I asked Tylee to Venmo you. I sent Tylee money to Venmo you. On October 10th, per information provided by Venmo, they can track your IP information. An IP login transfer of funds from Tylee's account to Colby takes place in Kansas City, Missouri. And I noted the marriage of Chad and Lori on 11/5 of 2019, and then the discovery of the children's remains on Mr. Daybell's property on June 9th of 20.
Thank you, Mr. Douglas. Your Honor, I have a few more charts. It might be a good time to take the mid-morning break at this point.
Okay, I'll agree with that. So we'll go ahead and take our mid-morning recess for about 20 minutes or so, and then you can continue with your examination after that. Ms. Rawlings, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, please.
Yeah, I don't need it both anymore.
All right, please.
All right, thank you. Please be seated.
May I continue, Your Honor?
Yes, go ahead, Ms. Rawlings.
Thank you. Mr. Douglas, with respect to Tylee's finances, do you recall when the automatic payments for the Jeep stopped?
The final payment stopped on September 1st of 2019, and that was due to the lack of funds in the account.
Thank you. Now, are you familiar with the timeline of the death for JJ Vallow?
Yes, ma'am.
When approximately did he die?
Approximately September 23rd of 19.
And did you create a timeline referencing major financial and other events for JJ?
I did.
And during the break, Your Honor, I took the opportunity to try and get my computer up, so hopefully that's a little more clear for everyone. May I publish Exhibit 113, Your Honor?
Yes.
Is this the timeline that you created for JJ?
Yes, ma'am.
When did JJ start receiving Social Security benefits?
JJ's benefits started getting paid into Ms. Vallow's account on September 18th of 2019.
All right, and what account was that?
The BBVA 3229 account.
And if you know, where do the funds come from for Social Security?
The passing of his father, Charles Vallow.
Okay, and who pays the Social Security funds out?
Social Security pays those, and they're a direct deposit.
Okay. And Social Security comes from?
Charles's employment.
Sorry. Okay. Can you walk me through the timeline for JJ that you created?
Yes, ma'am. And I apologize. Some of these charts are going to be repetitive, so some of the information the jury is going to see multiple times. Again, the passing of Charles Vallow and the text message exchange between Ms. Vallow and Mr. Daybell regarding the $4,000 of Social Security funds. JJ had a pet, or had a dog named Bailey. We found a message dated August 9th of the attempted sale of Bailey. Again, noting the Miss Vallow's life insurance that was supposed to be 100% to Colby Ryan. On August 14th of 2019 was again when the application for the rental in Rexburg stated that Miss Vallow was receiving $5,740 of Social Security funds. The move of her and the children, again, as you stated earlier, the beginning deposits of the Social Security funds for both Lori and JJ into the BBVA account ending 3229, the approximate passing of JJ, the wedding of 11/5 of 19, and then again the recovery of JJ's remains on June 9th of 20.
Okay, thank you. Are all of the Social Security benefits paid out after the deaths of Tylee and JJ and associated with those children deposited into that Compass account or BBVA Compass account that you've referenced?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'm going to show you, if I may, what's been admitted as State's Exhibit 114. Do you recognize that document?
I do.
Let me see if I can get it a little bit. Zoom in a little bit more. Well, that did not work. Okay. Did you prepare this document?
I did.
And you prepared this document in the course of your work as a forensic accountant?
Yes, ma'am.
And can you tell the jury what the contents of that document are?
So these are reflective of the payments that were paid into Ms. Vallow's BBVA Compass account ending 3229. The transactions were labeled as such under those SSA Treasury 310, and then also labeled the TSC Treasury 449. These are payments that were deposited into Ms. Vallow's account after, or a month after the passing of the children.
And can you just note, for the record, the dates on those?
Yes. Tylee's payments were different dates than JJ and Ms. Vallow's. Tylee's payments were October 23rd of 19, November 27th of 19, December 24th of 19, January 22nd of 20. JJ's were October 16th of 19, November 20 of 19, December 18th of 19, January 15th of 20. And then Ms. Vallow's were October 16th of 19, November 20th of 19, December 18th of 19, and finally January 15th of 20.
And you have mentioned this, but what date were Chad and Lori married?
November 5th of 19.
And can you tell me how many payments were received into Lori Vallow's Compass account on behalf of Tylee Ryan after her death? 4. And what was the amount of the Social Security payment for each month that was received for Tylee Ryan?
So in October through December of 19, she received $1,859 a month. In January of 20, she received $1,888.
And what's the total amount of those payments?
The total being $7,465.
Okay. And how many monthly payments were there for JJ?
4.
And what was the Social Security payment for each month that was received for JJ Vallow?
October through December of 19, it was $19.51 a month, and January of 20, it was $19.82.
And what was the total amount of those payments?
The $78.35.
And how many payments did Lori receive for caregiver benefits?
She received 4.
And what was the total amount of those payments?
The total amount would be the $39.02 and the $33.43.05.
Okay. How many payments did Lori receive after she was married to Chad?
2.
And what is the total amount of those payments?
The $33.43.05.
And what is the total amount of the Social Security payments that Lori Vallow received from October 2019 until February 2020?
That would be the $22,545.05.
And that is believed to be after the deaths of JJ and Tylee, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And is that on that document?
It is.
Did you create an exhibit that summarizes the Social Security information and timing of the deaths?
I did.
May I publish Exhibit 115, Your Honor?
Yes.
Can you walk me through this timeline?
Yes, ma'am. Starting again with the passing of Joe Ryan and the receiving of the Social Security benefits by Tylee June 14th of 18. The opening of Ms. Vallow's BBVA account October 23rd of 18. The life insurance policy of Joe Ryan October 26th of 18. And then moving forward to Charles Vallow's passing July 11th of 19. Regarding Charles's passing, Ms. Vallow's had a Bank of Hawaiian credit card that was used to pay for the services of Mr. Vallow on July 12th of 19. The same day, we recovered a phone call between Mr. Daybell and the mortuary requesting information about services, again, July 12th of 19. Again, on July 18th, the text message of the 4,000 Social Security funds and no life insurance, the final deposit of Social Security funds into Tylee's JP Morgan account on July 24th of 19, Ms. Vallow's $2 million life insurance policy being transferred to Colby Ryan as a 100% again. Again, on the rental agreement, or the rental application, of 5740 Social Security payments. Tylee's
Mr. Douglas, can I just ask you,
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about this before, but who pays the Social Security benefits?
The Social Security Administration.
And where do those funds come from?
The employment of the parent or the guardian deceased.
And the Social Security Administration has is an arm of what agency?
Outside the federal government?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. And so when the Social Security payments are being deposited into Lori's account, those are being paid from who?
As far as the deceased and their prior employment records out of the Social Security Administration.
Thank you.
Yep.
And then I think I interrupted you about Tylee's Social Security payments being deposited into Lori's account.
Okay. Again, August 28th, this is the initial deposit of Tylee's Social Security funds into Ms. Vallow's 3229 account with BBVA. Again, the move up to Rexburg. This is again, the text message between Colby Ryan asking Tylee for a Venmo payment, and again, Tylee texting back saying that she doesn't have the money, that mom gets her money now. It was on this same date that we learned there was an increase to Tammy Daybell's life insurance policy on 9/8. On 9/9, again, the passing of Tylee Ryan. And as I noted earlier, with Tylee's Venmo account, she had one funding source, which was her JP Morgan account. On 9/10, per records provided by Venmo, her BVA account was added as a funding source. On 9/18, as discussed earlier, this is when Ms. Vallow and JJ Social Security payments start getting deposited into her account. 32/29, again with the text messages regarding the transfer of funds to Colby. The very next day on 9/23, the passing of JJ. And then, as stated, these are dates given to me by law enforcement. The attempted shooting of Miss Tammy Daybell on October 9th of 2019. As I stated earlier, Tylee's Venmo had activity in Kansas City, Missouri on 10/10 with a transfer or a Venmo payment to Colby. The passing of Miss Daybell, October 19th of 19. Chad and Lori's wedding on 11/5 of 19. We received or found an email from Mr. Daybell to a rental company by the name of Kauai Dreams, dated 11/8, asking for information for a clean couple with no pets and no kids. And then on 12/20, this is when the Rexburg Police Department announced their investigation. The first search of Chad Daybell's property took place January 3rd of 20, and again on 6/9 of 20 was the second search of the property, and the remains of the children were found.
Now, Mr. Douglas, we've talked about Venmo a couple of times during your review of these exhibits. Did you also prepare an exhibit referencing money being sent from these Venmo accounts?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, may I publish Exhibit 117?
Yes, you may.
What is Venmo?
To put it simple, Venmo is an app that you can put on your phone that would be a person-to-person or a peer-to-peer transfer of funds. It's one that you have to add the funding source, i.e. your credit card, your bank account, and then transfer money to somebody else with another Venmo account into their holding, and then transfer into their initial bank account, or they can make purchases straight from Venmo.
All right, and on this exhibit, what are the funding sources for the Venmo activity?
So Ms. Vallow had two Venmo accounts, and on the top one, at Lori-Vallow, there were multiple funding sources, bank accounts or credit cards, as I stated earlier. The initial one, starting January of 2019 through, per the information provided by Venmo, January 4th through January 29th of 19, the JP Morgan Chase account ending 0377 was the funding source for that. Then from March 30th to May 5th, it was transitioned to funding source of Ms. Vallow's First Hawaiian Bank ending 4620 to be transferred and changed to another JP Morgan Chase account held by Ms. Vallow ending in 0769. And there towards the end, there is one attempt on August 24th to use another JP Morgan Chase account or credit card held by Ms. Vallow ending in 7213.
Okay. Are there other accounts listed on this exhibit?
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Vallow had a second Venmo account that at Lori-Vallow-1 between February 20th of 19 and May 19th of 19. This was active with her BBVA account ending 3229. And then, as I've noted on here, Venmo had noted failed attempts of transfers of funds with prior, as they listed, duplicate card attempts, meaning another card that was already on the account had been tried to be used again with failed attempts on that. And then Tylee, as I stated before, had her own Venmo account. Her only funding source while she was alive was the JP Morgan Chase account ending 3918. And that was active prior to, but this is reflective of January 7th through the use of August 7th. And then, as I stated, her account, her BBVA account ending 5794 was added September 10th, a day after the believed passing of Tylee, and that was used until the end of 2019.
What did you learn in tracking payments that were made from Lori's accounts?
Lori's two accounts favored Colby or Kelsey Benson, who is Colby's spouse or significant other. Before Colby had an active Venmo account, the payments went to Ms. Benson, and they are more often and larger payments.
And what did you learn in tracking payments from Tylee's accounts?
Tylee's accounts and her payments included other individuals, her friend, Miss Kennedy, and a McKenna Webb. As you can see depicted on here, there's less payments and by far a lesser amount being transferred.
What else stood out to you in compiling this information?
So after the believed passing of Tylee, this is when both of Ms. Vallow's accounts cease, and Tylee's account again has the new funding source of her BBVA account ending 5794 added, and Kobe Ryan being the sole receiver of those funds. Between the times of September 10th and December 18th, there's a transfer or 29 transfers totaling $5,940.
In your review of finances, were you able to track other occasions when Lori was using Tylee's funds or a debit card?
Yes, ma'am.
What were they?
So as I refer to brick and mortar purchases, there were two purchases at Costa Vida. There was a late payment with the rental company of Blue Sky Property that was made, and also a couple of PayPal purchases that, after research, we found was a transfer of money to, or Colby used that credit card information to buy his birthday present, which ended up being a lightsaber.
And in your review of Lori Vallow's finances, did any other purchases stand out to you?
Yes, ma'am.
What were they?
Multiple attempts or purchases of malachite rings.
Have you heard the name Chad Daybell?
I have.
Have you heard the name Alex Cox?
I have.
Did you become involved in an investigation regarding those individuals?
Yes, ma'am.
What were some of your duties or your assignments with regard to that investigation?
Those records also were included, as I stated earlier, in my research of the nearly 80 bank accounts and credit cards that I've researched.
What did you learn in reviewing Alex Cox's finances?
While reviewing Alex Cox's finances, I discovered that he had ended his employment with his prior employer and had taken out what ended up being a deposit of $21,000 in a loan that was what the funds that he lived off.
Okay. Turning your attention to review of Chad Daybell's financial accounts, are you aware of whether search warrants were obtained for Mr. Daybell's financial accounts?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you request those search warrants?
Not initially, but I did request follow-up ones.
Did you review the responsive documents to those search warrants?
I did.
And did you discuss that with other officers?
Yes, ma'am.
In your review, did you notice any activity on his accounts or others that caught your attention prior to Tammy Daybell's passing with regard to Chad?
It was more of what I didn't find on his accounts, ma'am.
Okay. What was that?
So we found regarding Miss Vallow's credit card statements, flights regarding Mr. Daybell from Idaho to Arizona.
And those credit cards were not in Chad Daybell's name?
No, ma'am.
Were they associated with any of his accounts that you could tell?
No.
So who were those accounts associated with?
So 2 of the flights were purchased regarding credit card held by Miss Vallow and joint account holder Alex Cox. And 1 flight was used regarding a credit card that was associated with Miss Vallow and Mr. Vallow.
Charles Vallow?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know who was making payments on the card that Lori and Alex shared?
Primarily it was Alex, but there was 1 payment by Miss Vallow.
Okay. And prior to Tammy's death, did you notice anything in the financial records with regard to purchase of a cell phone?
Yes, ma'am.
What was that?
Regarding Chad Daybell's business account with Spring Creek, there is a purchase dated 9/18 of 2019 at the Rexburg Walmart in the amount of $42 and change. And then we followed up with requesting information of Walmart and discovered that was the purchase of a cell phone.
Okay. And what information did you receive from Walmart?
They provided a receipt with the date and time.
And what date did Lori start receiving the Social Security funds for her and JJ?
The same day, September 18th of 2019.
What other activity did you review with Chad Daybell's finances before Tammy's death?
The application, or the change in the application of her life insurance.
Did you create a financial timeline referencing some of this activity?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, may I publish demonstrative exhibit 116?
Yes.
Can you walk me through the first part of that timeline?
Yes, ma'am. October 26th of 18 is believed to be the date of where Chad and Lori met at a conference in Utah. Initially, as I discussed earlier, Lori was on a joint account with Mr. Cox, and the purchase of a flight on February 23rd of 19 using Alex Cox's Barclay card was used to purchase Lori's flight from Arizona to Idaho Falls. March 14th of 2019, Lori's account on that joint account with Lori's card on that joint account with Alex Cox was used to purchase a flight for Chad to Arizona. The passing of Charles Vallow, July 11th, again with the Valley of the Mortuary phone call by Mr. Daybell, and the purchase of the mortuary, or the payment to the mortuary on July 12th of 19. July 18th, again with the payment information of the Social Security funds and not receiving the life insurance. Again, Lori's, this time Lori's Bank of Hawaii credit card was used to purchase a flight for Mr. Daybell to Arizona on July 20th of 19. Then this card that she shared with Alex Cox again, Lori, sorry. To Arizona. July 20th of 19.
And then what is the next date of significance on your timeline?
August 2nd of 2019, Lori's card is used to purchase another flight for Chad to Arizona. August 10th of 19, Lori's card is used to purchase a flight for Lori to Idaho Falls. And then the move of her and the children, August 31st. As I discussed earlier, on 9/8 was the increase of Tammy's life insurance, and then we learned that that was retroactive, that it would have taken place or would have taken effect September 1st.
Okay. And you already answered my next questions. So Tammy's life insurance increase was requested, I'm sorry, what date was that?
September 8th of 19.
And that was retroactive to what date?
September 1st of 19.
And do you recall what date Tammy passed away?
October 19th of 2019.
After Tammy passed away, were you able to discern or tell from the financial records who was paying for Chad and Lori's expenses and activities?
Both of them were making purchases, but by far the larger purchases were paid for by Chad Daybell.
And after Tammy passed away, was there any other activity that you noticed in the Daybell accounts that caught your attention?
This family trip to Knott's Berry Farms.
And did you reference this activity on this timeline?
I did.
Is the laser pointer still?
Yeah. I got it right here.
Can you just reference it on the timeline?
Right here.
And could you tell from the financial documents who paid for that trip?
Chad Daybell.
All right. And in between the time of Tammy's increase, which we talked about, and the trip to Knott's Berry Farm, are there any other financial events of significance on your timeline that we've not gone over yet?
The deposits of the two life insurance payments deposited into Mr. Daybell's accounts.
Okay. And was there anything else that Chad had done regarding finances that caught your attention in October?
The deposit of Chad filed with Primerica Life Insurance, the life insurance claim October 24th of 19, and files with Life Map Insurance October 30th of 19.
All right. Did he start refinance on his home at some point?
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Daybell had attempted to refinance his house October 8th of 2019.
Okay. And did you also review a Mountain America account associated with Chad Daybell?
Yes, ma'am.
When did Chad receive the insurance payments for Tammy's death?
The initial he received November 1st, or was deposited into his account November 1st of 2019, and the second was deposited into his account November 16th of 2019.
And I know we covered this earlier, but what date were Chad and Lori married?
November 5th of 19.
Did you, I think that we may have also mentioned this, but did you review any other records that were made in reference to the marriage or living in Hawaii?
Regarding the Kauai Dreams?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. The email to Kauai Dreams on November 8th of 2019 saying clean couple, no pets, no kids.
Did you notice any activity that caught your attention with regard to Mr. Daybell's accounts around June 9th of 2020?
Yes, ma'am. During the search of the property, approximately between 9:50 to 10 o'clock in the morning, there are 3 transfers from Mr. Daybell's Mountain America Credit Union account to his 3 older children in the value of $8,000 each.
Okay. And I'm sorry, you said what time those transfers were made, but can you say that again?
It was between 9:50 and 10 a.m.
Okay. Do you know if anything else happened around June 9th of 2020?
That's when the remains of the children were found on the property.
And what time did law enforcement arrive on the Daybell property?
I believe 7 a.m.
Okay. How long did officers remain on the Daybell property searching on June 9th, 2020?
I believe till about 5 p.m.
So those transfers would have occurred as officers were searching?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you recall, I think you might have mentioned this, I'm sorry, what was the amount on the transfers that were made to the 3 older children?
$8,000 each.
And do you recall, after that $24,000 had been transferred, how much money was left in that account?
There's a little over $4,400 left.
Your Honor, may I have just a brief moment to confer?
Yes.
Mr. Douglas, if you know, on that Knott's Berry Farm trip, do you recall who was involved in going to that trip?
So there were 7 tickets purchased. Mr. Daybell, 5 of his children, and Miss Vallow.
Okay. I don't believe I have any other questions, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Rawlings. Cross-examination?
May I have just a moment?
Yes.
Your Honor, I don't have any questions for Officer Douglas.
All right. That will conclude your testimony today then. Thank you for appearing. Is this witness going to be recalled or can they be excused?
Your Honor, we may need him at a later date, so we would just ask that he be available under subpoena.
Okay. I'll have you notify him of that, and we won't formally excuse him at this time then. So let's have our next witness called.
Your Honor, may we approach?
Yes. Okay, we are back on the record. We had a brief sidebar just about scheduling today. Things moved a little quicker, I think, than may have been anticipated this morning with witnesses. So in order to more efficiently have witness appearances throughout the rest of the day, we're going to break a little early for lunch today and plan on coming back hopefully around 12:30 to start back up with further evidence. So we'll break for lunch at this time.
All right, please.
Thank you. I think we've got the jurors close to being lined up to brought in, so we can just remain standing until they're ready to file in. All right, thank you, Mr. Bailiff. Please be seated.
That wraps up segment number 2 in our continuous coverage of the trial of Lori Vallow Daybell. There is much more to come. Be sure to press subscribe so you don't miss any of it. If you'd like an ad-free experience, subscribe through Apple Podcasts right now. Even try it for 3 days free. I'm Tony Bruschi. Stay with us.
This is continuous coverage
Continuous coverage
in the trial of Lori Vallow Daybell from the Hidden Killers podcast.
Hidden Killers Podcast.